Now for the answers to more of your requests. Back to You Asked For It.
Paris, France. That was the setting by the River Seine. Our cameras went there at the request of Mariette d'Anjou of Washington, D.C., and she wrote, "I'm sure many people would like to see Father Simone, the Catholic priest, do his famous swan dive again on your show. You recall that when the war destroyed his church, he decided to use every talent the Lord had given him to raise money to rebuild it. In school, he was famous for his high dive, so he decided that perhaps in that way he could raise funds. Well, I took the liberty of writing him about You Asked For It, and he answered me, saying he'd put on a special performance for you by diving from his tower 128 feet above the Seine. Well, Mrs. d'Anjou, as you recall, that next step took us to France. At that time, Father Simone placed his case before America.
My big wish was to dive in Paris. Now, I hope in America to dive the ultimate goal of my sport career. All for the glory of God and the beauty of his church.
Near us, the Notre Dame Cathedral. Father Simone begins his climb for the dive. The River Seine is shallow for such a leap, only 12 feet in depth. The moment is at hand, 128 feet above the water. Father Simone raises his arms. Like blessing his flock, he prays for his cause, for his people, the people of Siene. This is his home in the country outside Paris. Siene, where the Nazis destroyed his church, where through his effort a new one was later to arise. Earlier this day, he left his house, a Sunday greeting from a busy member of his congregation. She wishes him well. Once his church stood here. Now, with the money he collected through courage, rebuilding had begun. His Sunday sermon in a borrowed church. His flock is poor, very poor. Still, they have faith in God and this man who leads them in prayer. When all have left, he remains to meditate. A cross in the courtyard to bless. Then begins his journey in Paris for his feat of daring, for his people, the people of war-torn Siene. Yes, for them he risked his life on Sunday, this Sunday in Paris and many other Sundays. The crowd is gathered. Father Simone leaps. Again, in slow motion. A perfect swan dive, 128 feet high. Yes, this is a man to admire. For today, his people have a new church made possible by contributions from all over the world. Many of you who are watching now contributed to his cause when we presented this story on our program, because, as Father Simone said,
thank you to my wonderful friends in America and the show you asked for it.
Well, there's another half hour of the unusual features you asked for. But before we say so long, I'd like to tell you a little about some of the things we have planned for future shows. As we've always said, have camera will travel. So in coming weeks, we'll be taking you overseas again. In Hawaii, we'll travel around to the windward side of Oahu, where the giant combers test the skill of some sensational surfers. Then later, on the opposite side of the world, we'll see how fishermen of the quaint village of Nazar, Portugal, take their boats to sea. And back home, we'll see how some tiny babies learn to cope with the deep in their own way. And just so you won't think that we're all at sea, let me also add that we'll be traveling to one of the driest places on the face of the earth, California's Death Valley, where we're going to visit the fabulous Death Valley Scotty's Castle. And of course, there'll be many, many more features that you've asked for. We hope you plan to be with us every chance you have. We'll be looking forward to seeing you. Until then, so long.